The unlikely proposal, a father's despair, a CEO's offer. Warning: this story contains themes of unexpected turns and profound emotional shifts. Subscribe now and hit the like button to witness a love story defy all odds. Excuse me, are you all right? Leo looked up from the pavement, confused. An elegant woman, dressed in an impeccable pink suit, observed him from the window of a black car. He had been so lost in thought that he hadn't even heard her approach. Yes, I'm fine," he murmured, adjusting Lily in his arms. The little girl was still deeply asleep, oblivious to the chaos that had erupted in her father's life just 2 hours earlier. "You don't look fine," the woman insisted, stepping out of the car. "I saw you leave the building a few minutes ago. You seemed lost." Leo looked at the cardboard box he had placed on the ground at his feet. His diplomas, a small plant, some family photos, and 2 years of his professional life summarized in objects that now seemed insignificant. "I was fired," he said bluntly, surprising himself with his honesty. "Layoffs. And now I have to explain to my 4-year-old daughter why Daddy doesn't have a job anymore." The woman studied him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. Her green eyes seemed to search for something beyond his words. "Is she your daughter?" "Yes." Leo gently kissed Lily's head. "Her name is Lily. She fell asleep waiting for me at kindergarten. I guess she sensed Daddy was late because something was wrong." Isabel felt as if something broke inside her chest. The image of this man carrying his sleeping daughter, with that mix of tenderness and despair in his eyes, transported her back to all the dreams she had had to bury. "Are you alone?" she asked, though she already knew the answer by the absence of a wedding ring. "For 2 years now. My wife died in an accident." Leo wondered why he was telling this to a complete stranger. "Since then, it's just Lily and me against the world. That must be very difficult." "It is. But she's worth every sacrifice." Leo's voice softened as he looked at his daughter. "It's just that now I don't know how I'm going to support her. Jobs are scarce, and I have bills to pay, her school, the rent." Isabel closed her eyes for a moment. She had come to that building for a routine business meeting, but fate had put exactly what she had been looking for, without knowing it, in front of her. "What's your name?" "Leo." "No, Carter." "Isabel Sterling." She extended her hand. "And I think I have a proposal that might interest you." Leo looked at her suspiciously. He had learned to be wary of offers that sounded too good to be true. "What kind of proposal?" Isabel took a deep breath. What she was about to say would change both their lives forever. "Marry me." Leo almost dropped Lily in shock. "I'm sorry. You heard me? I need a husband. You need financial stability for your daughter. We could help each other." "Ma'am, I don't know you. You don't know me, and you're proposing marriage on the street." Leo began to walk towards his car. "You must be crazy." "Wait!" Isabel followed him. "I know it sounds absurd, but listen to me. I own Sterling Textiles. I have more money than I'll ever spend in my life, but my family constantly pressures me to get married. I need a husband, so they'll leave me alone." Leo stopped and stared at her. "And what do I get out of this crazy deal? Your daughter will never have to worry about money again. Private education, medical care, everything she needs. You'll be able to rebuild your career without pressure. And you?" Isabel looked at Lily with a tenderness she couldn't hide. "I could be the mother she needs. My daughter has a mother. She's dead, but she has one." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Isabel blushed. "I mean a present mother figure. Someone to take care of her, help her with homework. Be there when you can't." Leo felt as if the world had gone mad in the course of an afternoon. First the firing, now a millionaire proposing marriage out of convenience. This is ridiculous. More ridiculous than not being able to give your daughter the life she deserves. Isabel softened her tone. "Look, I know I'm a stranger, but I've watched how you hold her. It's clear you love her deeply. I can never have children of my own, but I always dreamed of being a mother. We could give each other what we need." Lily stirred in Leo's arms, whispering something incomprehensible in her sleep. Isabel felt a pang in her heart, seeing her. "Think about it," Isabel said, handing him a card. "I have a contract prepared. 5 years. Separate, but publicly united lives. No emotional ties. Just an agreement that benefits both of us." Leo took the card, incredulous. "You already have the contract prepared?" "Let's just say I've been thinking about this for a while. I just needed to find the right person." Isabel looked once more at Lily. "I think I found her." She got into her car and rolled down the window. "My number is on the card. Call me when you've decided. But don't take too long, Mr. Carter. Your daughter deserves a life without worries." The car drove away, leaving Leo standing on the sidewalk with a sleeping girl in his arms, a box of belongings at his feet, and the most absurd proposal he had ever heard echoing in his head. He looked at the card. Isabel Sterling, CEO, Sterling Textiles. "What do you think, Princess?" he whispered to Lily. "Is Daddy going crazy, or has the whole world lost its mind?" Lily sighed in her sleep and snuggled closer to him. Leo put the card in his pocket and picked up the box. For the first time in 2 years, the future was completely uncertain. But for the first time in 2 years, there was also a door opening when all the others were closing. A sister's wisdom, a child's wish. Leo didn't sleep all night. After putting Lily to bed, he sat at the kitchen table, staring intently at Isabel Sterling's card. The world's most absurd proposal kept circling in his head, like a scratched record. At 6 in the morning, his sister Clara knocked on the door. "You look terrible," Clara said when she saw him. "What happened yesterday? Your message sounded strange." "I was fired." Leo poured coffee for both of them. "And then?" "Well, I think I'm going crazy." He told her everything. From the moment the head of human resources called him to his office to the surreal conversation with Isabel Sterling. Clara listened without interrupting, but her eyes widened more and more. "Are you telling me a millionaire proposed marriage to you on the street?" "Marriage of convenience," Leo rubbed his face. "She says she needs a husband, so her family will leave her alone." "And what did you tell her?" "That she was crazy, because obviously she is." Clara was silent for a moment, thoughtful. "Do you think Lily's mother would have wanted you to be alone forever?" Leo looked at her in surprise. His sister bore the name of his late wife, something that had always been emotional for both of them. "We're not talking about love, Clara. We're talking about a business contract. We're talking about Lily having a mother figure and you being able to give her the life she deserves." Clara took his hand. "My namesake told me once that if anything happened to her, the only thing she wanted was for you two to be happy." Meanwhile, in her Sterling Textiles office, Isabel hadn't slept either. She had stayed up late working. But in reality, she couldn't concentrate on anything but the image of Leo carrying Lily. Her assistant, Paige, entered with a coffee and a folder. "The reports you asked for, Ms. Sterling. Are you all right? You look tired." "Paige, have you ever done something completely impulsive?" "Ma'am, something that goes against all logic, but that you feel is the right thing to do." Paige looked at her curiously. In 5 years working for Isabel, she had never seen her so vulnerable. "I once quit a stable job to follow a man who turned out to be an idiot," she smiled. "But I guess that's not the kind of impulse you're referring to." Isabel stood up and walked to the window. "Yesterday I proposed marriage to a complete stranger." "What?" "Marriage of convenience. He needs money. I need a husband." It seemed logical at the moment. "Ms. Sterling, with all due respect, are you feeling all right?" Isabel laughed, but there was no humor in her laugh. "Probably not. But when I saw that man with his daughter, Paige, I've never wanted something as much as I want to be a mother to that child." In his apartment, Leo had spent the morning sending out resumes. The responses were discouraging. Salaries that wouldn't even cover the rent, jobs that required constant travel, offers in other cities that would mean taking Lily away from everything she knew. "Daddy, why are you sad?" Lily approached with her favorite doll. "I'm not sad, Princess. I'm just thinking." "Thinking about what?" Leo picked her up and sat her on his lap. "About how to make our life better. Isn't our life good? It's perfect when you're in it." He kissed her on the forehead. "But Daddy wants to give you more things. Better things." "I just want you not to be sad." Lily hugged him. "And that we have a mommy." Leo felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. "A mommy?" "All my friends have mommies. I only have a picture of my mommy from heaven." That afternoon, Isabel received a call from her mother. "Daughter, your father and I want to talk to you. Come to dinner." Isabel knew what that meant. Another conversation about her single status, about how at 35 she should already be married, about the future of the family business. At her parents' house, the conversation was exactly what she expected. "Isabel, we're worried about you," her mother said. "You live only for work. You need a family." "I have a family, you two." "You know what I mean," her father intervened. "A husband, children. The family business needs continuity." Isabel felt the familiar pang of pain at the mention of children. "Dad, we've talked about this. I can't. You can always adopt. But first you need a husband." That night, Isabel stayed awake looking at the medical reports that confirmed her infertility. She had read them hundreds of times, but the pain never lessened. At 11 p.m., her phone rang. "Ms. Sterling, this is Leo Carter." Isabel felt her heart race. "Mr. Carter, I didn't think you'd call." "I didn't think I would either." There was something different in his voice. "But I need to ask you something. Are you serious? Are you really willing to marry me, just so your family leaves you alone?" "Completely serious. And you? Would you be willing to do it? Just for money?" "It wouldn't be just for money." Leo took a deep breath. "It would be to give my daughter the life she deserves. And maybe to give her the mother figure she needs. Do you want to meet tomorrow? I can show you the contract." "You already have it ready?" "I wrote it this morning. 5 years, civil marriage, separate but publicly united lives. I'll cover all of Lily's expenses, and you'll have complete freedom to rebuild your career." Leo closed his eyes. It was the craziest decision of his life, but also the only one that made sense. "Okay, see you tomorrow." "Mr. Carter, thank you for calling." "Ms. Sterling, I hope neither of us regrets this." They hung up the phone, and both stayed awake the rest of the night, knowing they had crossed a point of no return. The unconventional union. The next day, they met at a discreet cafe. Isabel arrived with a folder full of legal documents. Leo arrived with a mixture of hope and terror. "Are you sure about this?" Isabel asked, after explaining all the terms. Leo thought of Lily, her smile, her dreams of having a mommy. "Yes, I'm sure." "Then, Mr. Carter, I think we're going to get married." "You may kiss the bride," the civil judge said, with a routine smile. Leo and Isabel looked at each other uncomfortably. After 3 weeks of paperwork, signatures, and procedures, that moment had arrived faster than expected. A quick, formal kiss sealed the strangest marriage in history. "It's done," Isabel murmured. "We're husband and wife." "For 5 years," Leo added, as if he needed to remind them both. The ceremony had been small. Only Clara as Leo's witness, Paige as Isabel's witness, and Lily, who didn't quite understand what was happening, but had insisted on wearing her prettiest dress for Daddy and Isabel's party. "Is Isabel my new mommy now?" Lily asked, as they left the civil registry. Leo and Isabel exchanged nervous glances. "Isabel is going to live with us and take very good care of you," Leo explained. "But she doesn't replace your mommy from heaven." "Can I call you Mommy Isa?" Isabel felt a lump in her throat. "If you want, Princess, I'd love that." The move was as awkward as everything else. Isabel had bought a larger house in the hills, with enough space for everyone to have privacy. Leo felt like a stranger as he carried his few belongings into what was now officially his home. Your room is here. Isabel showed him a spacious suite with its own bathroom. I thought you'd need your space. Thank you, it's very big. Lily's room is next to yours. I thought you'd prefer to have her close. Leo nodded, admiring the details. Isabel had thought of everything. A new bed for Lily, toys, books. She had even painted the walls pink with little butterflies. When did you do all this? Last week. I wanted her to feel at home. The first few days were strangely silent. Leo woke up early, prepared breakfast for Lily, and tried not to make noise. Isabel left for work before he came downstairs, and returned after they had already had dinner. Why doesn't Mommy Isa eat with us? Lily asked one night. She works a lot, Princess. Doesn't she like being with us? Leo didn't know what to answer. He wondered the same thing himself. The situation changed one morning when Lily woke up with a fever. Daddy, my tummy hurts, the little girl whimpered. Leo panicked. He didn't have new health insurance, didn't know any pediatricians in the area, and didn't know if he could use Isabel's insurance. What's wrong? Isabel appeared at the door, already dressed for work, but with a worried expression. Lily has a fever. I don't know what doctor to take her to here. I know the best pediatrician in the city. Isabel approached the bed and placed her hand on Lily's forehead. Hello, little one. Do you feel bad? Lily nodded weakly. I'm going to call Dr. Hayes. He can come to the house. Isabel was already dialing. Doctor, this is Isabel Sterling. I need you to come home. It's urgent. In half an hour, the doctor was examining Lily. It turned out to be just a stomach virus, nothing serious. But Isabel canceled all her meetings for the day to stay home. You don't have to stay, Leo said. I can take care of her. I want to stay. Isabel sat on the edge of Lily's bed. Besides, I know some tricks to make her feel better. It was the first day they truly functioned as a family. Isabel prepared a special broth she had learned from her grandmother. Leo read stories to Lily, and between the two of them, they managed to make the girl smile, despite feeling unwell. You know what? Lily said that night, already feeling better. I think I like having a mommy, Isa. Isabel had to leave the room so they wouldn't see her cry. After that day, the dynamic changed. Isabel began to arrive home earlier from work, and occasionally they would have dinner together. Leo noticed small changes. Isabel had filled the refrigerator with Lily's favorite cereals, had learned to make ponytails exactly how the girl liked them, and always asked about school homework. How's your business going? Isabel asked one night while they were washing dishes together. Slow, but better than I expected. I got 2 small clients. If you need references or contacts, I can help you. I don't want to take advantage of the arrangement more than necessary. Isabel stopped and looked at him. Leo, it's not taking advantage. We are, she hesitated for a moment, partners. Partners help each other. The blurring lines. A family emerges. A month later, they established routines that almost seemed natural. Breakfasts became less silent, especially since Lily was a natural conversationalist who filled any awkward silence. Mommy Isa, did you also want to be an architect like Daddy? No, little one. I like to run the company, make important decisions. And do you want to have more children like me? Leo almost choked on his coffee. Isabel turned pale. I love taking care of you, Lily. But do you want to have a baby in your tummy? Lily, don't ask such personal questions, Leo intervened. It's okay, Isabel smiled sadly. I can't have babies in my tummy, Lily, but having you is better than anything I could have imagined. Lily got up from her chair and hugged Isabel. Then, I'll be your special baby. Isabel hugged her tightly, and Leo felt something strange in his chest, something he hadn't felt since his first wife, Lily's mother, passed away. Weekends began to include family activities. The park, the movies, museums. To the outside world, they looked like a perfect family. But at night, when Lily was asleep, Leo and Isabel returned to their separate rooms, remembering that everything was temporary. One night, Leo heard noises in the kitchen. He found Isabel preparing Lily's lunch for the next day. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I can prepare it." "I like to do it." Isabel didn't look up. "It's maternal." They remained silent for a few minutes, working side by side. "Isabel, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you ever regret doing this?" Isabel stopped cutting the sandwich and looked at him. "Never." "And you?" "No, it's just, sometimes it feels so real that I forget it's temporary." "Maybe that's the idea," Isabel murmured. "That it feels real for Lily." Leo felt her, but both knew it was starting to feel real for them too. 3 months after the wedding, Isabel's parents came to dinner. Leo was nervous, but Isabel reassured him. "Just be yourself. I've already told them you're an architect, that you have a beautiful daughter, and that you're a good man." The dinner was surprisingly pleasant. Isabel's parents immediately fell in love with Lily and were impressed with Leo's sincerity and warmth. "He's a good man," Isabel's mother told her as she cleared the table. "You can tell he loves you." Isabel didn't know what to say because, for a terrible and wonderful moment, she had wished it were true. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Leo found Isabel in the garden. "I think your parents liked me. They loved you. And Lily completely won them over. She's good at that." They fell silent, enjoying the cool night. "Leo, can I confess something?" "Of course." I've never been as happy as these past few months." Leo looked at her in surprise. "Me neither," he admitted. "And that scares me a little." "Why?" "Because this is supposed to be temporary." Isabel felt her heart race, but before she could answer, Lily appeared at the garden door with her teddy bear. "I can't sleep. Can I stay with you for a bit?" Leo picked her up and sat her between them. "What were you talking about?" "How happy we are," Isabel said, stroking Lily's hair. "I'm happy too," Lily murmured, snuggling against both of them. "I like our family." Leo and Isabel exchanged glances over the little girl's head. At that moment, both realized that what had started as a convenient arrangement had become something much more complicated and much more real, a promise to keep, love's true test. 6 months after the wedding, life had found a rhythm that no longer felt strange. Isabel woke up every morning to the sound of Lily running to her room to say good morning, something that had become her favorite part of the day. "Mommy Isa, Daddy says we can make pancakes." Isabel smiled and put on her robe. In the kitchen, Leo already had all the ingredients ready. "I hope you don't mind," he said. "I promised her special pancakes because she behaved very well at the dentist yesterday. I love the idea, but I make the best pancakes in the city." "That remains to be seen," Leo grinned mischievously. "Lily will be the judge." The kitchen filled with laughter and flour flying everywhere. Lily ended up with more batter on her face than in the bowl, but her laughter was contagious. Isabel had never imagined that something as simple as making pancakes could feel so complete. "Mommy Isa's are fluffier," Lily declared after tasting both versions. "Ha!" Isabel made a triumphant gesture. "I told you they were the best." "Okay, I concede defeat." Leo raised his hands. "But I make better coffee." "That's not proven either," Isabel challenged him with a smile. It was the kind of exchange that had been happening more frequently. Little jokes, shared smiles, moments that felt genuinely marital. Leo's business had unexpectedly taken off. One of his first clients had been so satisfied that they recommended him to several acquaintances. Isabel had kept her promise not to interfere directly, but occasionally mentioned his name in conversations with other business owners. "I have a proposal," Isabel said during breakfast. "How about we go to Palm Springs this weekend? I have a house there I never use." "The 3 of us?" Leo asked. "Yes," Lily shouted. "Does it have a pool?" "It has a pool, a garden, and even horses on the neighboring property." "Please, Daddy, please!" Lily bounced in her chair. Leo looked at Isabel. During these months, he had learned to read her expressions, and there was something different in her eyes. A hope that hadn't been there before. "Okay, but I'm driving." "Deal." The trip to Palm Springs was revealing. Away from the daily routine, the three behaved like a real family. Isabel taught Lily to swim. Leo grilled while the two played in the garden, and at night, they sat on the terrace watching the stars. "Daddy, can we live here forever?" Lily asked on the second night. "This isn't our house, Princess, but we could make it ours," Isabel murmured, then blushed as she realized she had spoken aloud. Leo looked at her curiously, but said nothing. The last night in Palm Springs, after putting Lily to bed, Leo and Isabel stayed on the terrace longer than usual. "Thank you for this," Leo said. "I haven't seen Lily so happy in a long time. I've never had a weekend like this." Isabel played with her wine glass. "I feel like I have the family I always wanted." "Isabel." Leo hesitated for a moment. "Do you ever think about what it will be like when the contract ends?" Isabel felt a pang in her chest. "I try not to think about it." "Do you?" "Less and less," Leo admitted. "And that worries me." "Why?" "Because Lily is getting used to this. To you? What will happen when you leave?" Isabel remained silent. She had asked herself the same question, but she didn't dare face the answer. A truth revealed. Beyond the contract. Back in Los Angeles, the family routine continued. But something had changed. Casual gestures became more frequent. Isabel putting her hand on Leo's shoulder while serving him coffee. Leo brushing a strand of hair from Isabel's face when they cooked together. Gazes that lasted a second longer than necessary. One afternoon, Isabel arrived home early from work and found Leo in his study, working on blueprints. "Can I see?" "It's a house." Leo pointed to the design. "For a young family. 3 bedrooms, a large garden, open spaces for children to play." Isabel studied the blueprints. They were beautiful, full of details designed for family comfort. "It's beautiful. Can you imagine living in a house like this?" Leo looked at her directly. "Lately, I imagine many things I shouldn't." Isabel's heart raced, but before she could answer, Lily burst into the study. "Daddy, Mommy Isa, come see my school project." The moment was broken, but the tension lingered in the air. That night, Isabel received a call from her mother. "Daughter, your father and I want you to come to dinner on Sunday. All 3 of you." "Mom, we've already had dinner together several times." "I know, but this time it's special. We want to make an announcement." On Sunday, at Isabel's parents' house, dinner proceeded normally until dessert arrived. "We have something to tell you," Isabel's father announced. "Your mother and I have decided to retire completely. We want to travel, enjoy our future grandchildren." Isabel and Leo exchanged nervous glances. "Isabel, the company is officially yours, but more importantly," her mother smiled, "we want you to know how proud we are of the family you've built." "It's not what we expected when we got married," her father continued. "But seeing Isabel with Lily, seeing how Leo makes her smile, we realize you found something special." Lily, who had been playing with her dessert, looked up. "What's special?" "The love you have for each other," her grandmother replied. "It's clear you love each other very much." Isabel almost choked on her water. Leo stiffened. "Grandma, how do you know they love each other?" "Because when your daddy looks at your mommy Isa, his eyes sparkle just like when he looks at you. And when mommy Isa talks about your daddy, she smiles in a special way." Isabel felt her face flush. Leo didn't know where to look. "Children always tell the truth," Isabel's mother laughed. "Lily is just saying what we all see." On the way back home, the silence was deafening. Lily had fallen asleep in the back seat, leaving the adults alone with their thoughts. "What Lily said," Leo began, "was just a child's imagination." Isabel quickly interrupted him. Are you sure? Isabel didn't answer, but Leo noticed her hands trembling slightly on the steering wheel. That night, after putting Lily to bed, they found themselves in the kitchen again. Isabel, we have to talk about what's happening. Nothing's happening. Yes. Oh no, it's... Isabel leaned against the counter, avoiding his gaze. Leo, we have a contract. We have an agreement. Contracts can be changed. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that maybe this has become something more than we planned. Isabel finally looked at him, and Leo saw fear in her eyes. What if you're wrong? What if it's just convenience that feels comfortable? What if we ruin what we have by chasing something that doesn't exist? And what if it does exist, and we lose it because we're afraid? Before Isabel could answer, they heard noises upstairs. Lily had had a nightmare and was calling for them. They went up together to comfort her, and when the little girl calmed down, she whispered, "You two are never going to fight and separate like Mariana's parents, are you?" Leo and Isabel looked at each other over Lily's head. "No, princess," Leo replied. "We're always going to be here for you. You promise?" "We promise," Isabel said, though her voice broke slightly. When they left Lily's room, both knew they had just made a promise that their hearts wanted to keep, but their minds didn't know how to guarantee. The agreement that had started as something temporary had become something precious and fragile, and both were afraid to break it, or to admit that they no longer wanted it to be temporary. The breaking point, and the hospital's truth. After dinner at Isabel's parents' house, something changed between them. It wasn't immediate, but gradually they began to drift apart, as if they had crossed an invisible line that scared them. Leo started working later, finding excuses to stay in his studio when Isabel came home from work. Isabel, for her part, accepted more business trips than necessary, fleeing from the intimate moments they had once enjoyed. "Why doesn't Daddy read us stories anymore?" Lily asked one night, as Isabel put her to bed alone. "Daddy's very busy with his work, little one. And why don't all three of us have breakfast together anymore?" Isabel didn't know what to answer. The truth was that Leo was getting up earlier to avoid those family moments that had once been natural. "Mommy Isa, are you and Daddy fighting?" "No, darling. Adults sometimes need time to think." "Think about what?" "About complicated things." Lily frowned with that seriousness children sometimes have. "Adults think too much. They should be more like kids." Isabel kissed her on the forehead, wondering when everything had become so complicated. The tension reached a critical point one morning when Isabel found Leo making coffee in the kitchen at 5 in the morning. "Can't you sleep?" Leo started. He hadn't heard her come downstairs. "I have a lot of work." "Leo, this is ridiculous. We're living like strangers, aren't we?" His voice sounded colder than he intended. Isabel felt as if she had been slapped. "After all these months, do you really believe we're strangers?" Leo rubbed his face, tired. "I don't know what we are, Isabel, and that's the problem. Why does it have to be a problem? Why can't we just be? Why is Lily in the middle? Why doesn't she understand that this is temporary? Why with each passing day does she grow more attached to you? And when the contract ends, who says it has to end?" Leo looked at her in surprise. "The contract says it has to end. Contracts can be modified. For what? To pretend something that doesn't exist?" Isabel felt tears welling in her eyes. "Are you saying I've been pretending all these months? I'm saying I don't know the difference between what's real and what's convenience that feels comfortable." Isabel was silent for a moment, and when she spoke, her voice trembled. "I do know the difference, Leo, and it hurts that you don't see it." She left the kitchen without another word, leaving Leo alone with his coffee and the certainty that he had said something terrible. The following days were even more difficult. Isabel immersed herself in work, accepting a business trip to another city that she would normally have delegated. Leo stayed alone with Lily, who didn't understand why Mommy Isa had to leave so suddenly. "When is Mommy Isa coming back?" Lily asked. "For the 5th time that day. In 3 days, Princess. Why did she leave without saying goodbye to me?" Leo didn't know what to say. Isabel had left very early, precisely to avoid that farewell. She had a work emergency. That night, Lily woke up with a high fever. Leo panicked when he saw her temperature rising rapidly and the girl starting to get delirious. He rushed to the hospital with Lily in his arms, desperately calling Isabel from the car. "Leo, what's wrong?" Isabel answered on the second ring. "Lily's very sick. I'm going to the hospital. She has a high fever and isn't responding well." "I'm coming. Which hospital?" "Central Hospital. I'll be there in 2 hours." Isabel canceled all her meetings and took the first flight back. During the trip, she couldn't stop thinking that she had fled from her family just when they needed her most. She arrived at the hospital running, still in her wrinkled work clothes. She found Leo in the waiting room, his head in his hands. "How is she?" "Pneumonia." Leo looked up, and she saw that he had been crying. "They say she'll be fine, but she needs to stay hospitalized for a few days." Isabel felt her knees weaken with relief. "Can I see her?" "She's asleep." "But yes." They went into the room together. Lily looked so small in that hospital bed, with an IV in her arm and a heart monitor attached. Isabel approached and gently stroked her hair. "Forgive me, little one," she whispered. "Forgive me for not being here." Leo observed Isabel's reaction and finally understood something he had been denying. Isabel's love for Lily was not fake. It was not part of the contract. It was real, deep, and maternal. That night, they took turns staying with Lily. During the silent hours in the hospital, with only the sound of the machines and the child's breathing, the defenses they had built began to crumble. "Isabel," Leo whispered during his vigil, "I'm sorry for what I said in the kitchen. You don't have to apologize for telling the truth. It wasn't the truth, it was fear." Isabel looked at him in the dim light of the room. "Fear of what?" "Fear of falling in love with you and having it all be just in my head, in the end." Isabel felt her heart race. "What if I told you it's not just in your head?" Leo approached her, but before he could respond, Lily stirred in bed. "Mommy Isa," she murmured hoarsely. "I'm here, darling. Did you leave because Daddy and you fought?" Isabel looked at Leo with tears in her eyes. "No, little one. I left because I'm silly, and sometimes adults run away when they're scared." "Scared of what?" "Scared of loving someone too much." Lily, with that inexplicable wisdom of children, smiled weakly. "But loving a lot is good. You love me a lot, and I love you a lot, and that makes us happy." Isabel began to cry silently. Leo approached and put his hand on hers. "You're right," he said softly. "Loving a lot is good." Lily looked at both of them with her fever-bright eyes. "You're not going to be sad anymore?" Leo and Isabel looked at each other over the little girl's head. "No, Princess," Isabel replied. "We're not going to be sad anymore. And are you going to be happy like before?" "We're going to try to be even happier," Leo promised. When Lily fell back asleep, Leo and Isabel sat by her bed, holding hands in silence. For the first time in weeks, both felt they were where they were supposed to be. But the most difficult conversation still remained. The conversation about what everything they had admitted that night meant, and if they were really ready to turn their marriage of convenience into something real. In the silence of the hospital, with their daughter sleeping between them, Leo and Isabel finally understood that there was no turning back. Their hearts had made the decision that their minds had been resisting. The question was no longer whether they loved each other. The question was whether they had the courage to admit it and fight for it. A real family. Forever, 3 days later, Lily was discharged from the hospital. During the drive home, the little girl was quiet in the back seat, still weak but recovering. Leo and Isabel had maintained a silent conversation during those hours in the hospital, full of meaningful glances and hands reaching for each other when they thought no one was looking. "Can we watch a movie together when we get home?" Lily asked hoarsely. "Of course, princess, whatever you want," Leo replied. "I want it to be a princess movie where everyone is happy at the end." Isabel smiled sadly. If only real life were as simple as fairy tales. At home, while Isabel prepared a special tea for Lily and Leo arranged pillows on the sofa, family normality returned naturally. But there was something different in the air, an unresolved tension that everyone could feel. That night, after putting Lily to bed and making sure her fever had completely gone down, Leo found Isabel in the garden. She was sitting on the bench they had bought together to watch the stars with Lily. "Do you mind if I sit?" Isabel shook her head. They remained silent for a few minutes, listening to the nocturnal sounds of the garden. "Isabel, we have to talk about what happened at the hospital. I know, we can't keep pretending that we don't feel what we feel." Isabel took a deep breath, gathering courage. "And what do you feel, Leo?" Leo turned to look at her directly. "I fell in love with you. I don't know when exactly it happened. Maybe it was gradual. Maybe it was from the first day I saw you worry about Lily. But I can no longer pretend that this is just an arrangement of convenience." Isabel felt her eyes fill with tears. "I also fell in love with you, with your dedication as a father, with your kindness, with the way you accepted me into your life without asking me to be someone different. So why are we so scared?" "Because this wasn't in the plan." Isabel wiped away a tear. "Because I'm afraid you'll feel obligated to me out of gratitude." "Gratitude? For the money, for the stability I gave Lily." Leo interrupted her, taking her hands. "Isabel, look at me. Do you think I could fake what I feel? Do you think I could act all these months? No, but do you think Clara would have wanted me to be unhappy forever?" Isabel looked at him, surprised. It was the first time he had mentioned his late wife in that context. "Leo, Clara once told me that if anything happened to her, the only thing she wanted was for Lily and me to be happy. For 2 years, I thought that meant being alone, honoring her memory by remaining faithful to a ghost. But I was wrong." "What do you mean?" "Clara would want me to find love again. She would want Lily to have a mother who loved her. She would want me to be happy." Leo caressed Isabel's cheek. "And with you, I'm happier than I ever thought I could be again." Isabel began to cry, but this time they were tears of relief. "I always dreamed of being a mother, but I thought it could never happen. With you and with Lily, I discovered that maternal love doesn't just come from giving birth. It comes from loving unconditionally, from being present, from being Mommy Isa." Leo smiled. "From being Mommy Isa." Isabel nodded. Leo moved closer to her. "Do you know what I think we should do?" "What?" "Get married for real. Not for a contract, not for convenience, for love." Isabel felt her heart race. "Are you asking me to marry you again?" "I'm asking you to marry me for the first time. The last time was a business agreement. This time it would be, Daddy? Mommy Isa?" Both turned, surprised. Lily was standing at the garden door in her pajamas, carrying her teddy bear. "What are you doing awake, princess?" Leo got up, worried. "I couldn't sleep. I heard voices and wanted to make sure you weren't fighting again." Isabel approached her. "We weren't fighting, darling. We were talking about important things." "What things?" Leo and Isabel exchanged glances. Lily was 4 years old, but she had shown a special intuition for understanding family dynamics. "Lily, can I ask you something?" Leo said, kneeling to her height. "Yes. Would you like Mommy Isa to be your mommy forever, for real? Not just while we live together, but forever?" Lily's eyes lit up. "Does that mean she'll never leave?" "It means we'll always be a family," Isabel replied. Lily let go of her teddy bear and hugged both of them at the same time. "Yes, I want us to be a family forever, for real." Leo looked at Isabel over Lily's head. "Is that a yes?" "It's a yes," Isabel whispered. "But I want you to know that I also have something to confess." "What?" Isabel blushed slightly. "I went to the doctor last week. There's a new experimental treatment. There are no guarantees, but there's a small chance I could get pregnant." Leo looked at her in astonishment. "Seriously? It's a very small possibility, but—" Leo kissed her before she could finish the sentence. It was their first real kiss, full of love, hope, and future promises. "Ew!" Lily shouted, but she was smiling. "Does that mean we're going to have a baby?" "Maybe, princess. Just maybe," Isabel said. "Would you like to have a little brother or sister?" "Yes! I'm going to teach him everything I know." Leo picked up Lily and extended his free arm to hug Isabel. "You know what I think we should do tomorrow?" "What?" Isabel and Lily asked at the same time. "Go buy real rings. The ones we have are from the courthouse, but this time we want rings that mean something." "And can we have a party?" Lily asked excitedly. "We can have any party you want," Isabel promised. A love story unwritten. The Carter Sterling legacy. 6 months later, they renewed their vows in a small ceremony in the house's garden. Lily carried the rings on a small pillow, dressed as the proudest flower girl in the world. Clara, Leo's sister, cried throughout the ceremony, and Isabel's parents couldn't stop smiling. When the priest asked them to exchange personal vows, Leo took Isabel's hands and spoke from the heart. "Isabel, we started this marriage as strangers, with an arrangement of convenience, but you became my partner, my daughter's mother, and the love of my life. And I promise to love you not out of obligation, but out of choice, every day for the rest of our lives." Isabel, with tears of happiness, responded, "Leo, you gave me the family I always dreamed of. You taught me that love comes in the most unexpected ways. I promise to be your wife, Lily's mother, and, God willing, the mother of the children we may have together." When they kissed, Lily shouted, "Now we're a real family forever." And she was right. They were no longer Leo Carter, Isabel Sterling, and Lily Carter living under the same roof for convenience. They were the Carter Sterlings, a family built on love, understanding, and the certainty that sometimes the best plans are the ones you never planned. During the reception, as they watched Lily dance with her grandparents, Leo whispered in Isabel's ear, "Do you know what's the most incredible thing about all this?" "What?" "That it started with the worst day of my life, losing my job, and it ended up being the day I met the woman of my dreams." Isabel smiled and placed her hand on her belly, where a small surprise they had decided to announce that very night was already growing. Sometimes, the happiest endings begin with the most difficult beginnings. He was right. What had begun as a desperate proposal on a sidewalk had become the most beautiful love story neither of them could have imagined. 2 years later, the morning sun illuminated the garden of the house that Leo had designed especially for his family. It was no longer Isabel's house or Leo's temporary home. It was their home, built with love, and designed for every moment of their lives together. "Lily, come have breakfast!" Isabel shouted from the kitchen as she prepared a bottle for Noah, their 6-month-old son. "Coming, Mommy," replied Lily, now 6 years old, running downstairs with her school uniform half-buttoned. Leo appeared carrying the baby, who had inherited Isabel's green eyes and the mischievous smile of the Carter family. "Good morning, my love." Leo kissed Isabel on the cheek before sitting at the table. "Good morning," Isabel smiled, still feeling butterflies in her stomach every time he called her my love so naturally. Lily climbed onto her chair and looked at her little brother with adoration. "Noah, today I'm going to tell you a very special story," she told the baby, who looked at her with curious eyes. "I'm going to tell you how Daddy and Mommy met." Isabel and Leo exchanged amused smiles. Lily had made it a tradition to tell Noah the story of their parents every morning during breakfast. "Let's hear it," Leo said, pretending not to know the story. Lily cleared her throat dramatically. "Once upon a time, there was a very good daddy named Leo, and he had a little daughter named Lily," she began, pointing to herself. "One day, Daddy lost his job, and he was very sad." Isabel caressed Lily's hair as she listened to the childlike version of their love story. But then a very elegant lady appeared in a nice car. Her name was Isabel, and she had a lot of money, but she didn't have a family. When she saw Daddy carrying little Lily, her heart became very happy. "And what happened next?" Leo asked as if he didn't know. "Isabel told Daddy to get married, but it wasn't a marriage of love yet. It was a marriage of, how do you say, Mommy, of convenience," Isabel helped. "That. But then they lived together and realized they loved each other very, very much. And then they got married again, but this time for real love. And then Noah arrived." Lily tickled the baby's tummy. "And now we're a complete family." "And what's the moral of the story?" Isabel asked. Lily put on her most serious face. "That sometimes bad things happen so that very, very good things happen afterward. And that families aren't always born. Sometimes they're made with love." Leo felt a lump in his throat. After all these years, he was still surprised by his daughter's wisdom. "You're right, Princess," he said. Picking up Lily. "Do you know what else I learned?" "What?" "That true love always finds a way to arrive, even if it comes in the strangest way." Isabel approached and hugged all three of them, with Noah in the middle, making happy gurgling noises. "And that the best marriage proposal can be the craziest one," Isabel added, laughing. "Can you imagine if I tell someone I married a man I proposed to on the street after knowing him for 5 minutes? "But it worked!" Lily shouted. "And now we're the happiest family in the world!" Leo looked around. His wife preparing Lily's lunch for school. His daughter finishing her breakfast while making funny faces at the baby. His son happily babbling in his arms. The blueprints for his next architectural project spread out on the dining room table. Family photos covering every available surface. 3 years ago, he had been a desperate man carrying his daughter and a cardboard box, with no idea how he was going to make it. Now he had everything he had never dared to dream of. "You know what, Noah?" he whispered to the baby. "Your sister is right. Sometimes the best families aren't born. They're chosen, and then they're loved with all your heart." Isabel, who had heard, approached and gave him a kiss. "And you know what else?" "What?" "That every morning I keep choosing you, all three of you, forever." Lily looked at them with that smile she had inherited from her father. "I choose you forever too. We're a real family." And as they prepared to start another day of their lives together, the four of them knew they had found something many people search for their whole lives. A love that began as convenience and transformed into the foundation of a happiness neither had believed possible. On the kitchen table lay an old, wrinkled business card, which Leo kept as a reminder. Isabel Sterling, CEO, Sterling Textiles, the same card that had changed their lives forever. Because sometimes the best love stories begin with the most impossible proposals. And sometimes the most beautiful families are born from the most unexpected agreements. In the end, it didn't matter how it had begun. What mattered was how it had ended. With true love, a real family, and the certainty that they had found exactly what they needed when they needed it most. Forever. For real.